I'm human like anyone else, and I love to binge watch TV. But binge watching TV doesn't hit like it used to. Let's talk about it. Hi, my name is Jude, 1/3 of Rule of Thirds, and this is why I think binge culture isn't the same as it used to be. During the pandemic, I remember binge watching Breaking Bad for the first time, and for me, that was the epitome of what I consider binge culture, where something that has, I don't know, 5 seasons, 6 seasons. I remember I'd wake up during COVID times, I'd wake up, do a bit of work, chuck on a few episodes, back to work, few more episodes, back to work, few more. You get the point. But now, with especially the abundance of shows being cancelled, binging is just not the same. It feels like you're playing a game of Russian roulette with every single show that you decide to take on. You might start a show and find out, wow, this show is so amazing, and it got cancelled after 1 season. Some shows should have never been made. Or you might start another show, get to 2 seasons, get to 3 seasons, and think, wow, this is the one, it's gonna go to the end, and then it gets cancelled. And it hurts because you feel, for lack of a better term, you feel like you've invested time that you will never get back. And let's be real, you will never get that time back regardless of if the show has a proper conclusion or not. But not having a conclusion just hurts. It hurts a bit more. Now, recently I started watching a new show which I thought was going to be my next binge-worthy show, which to some degree it was. This show called The Great. Now, if you're a friend of mine, you probably heard me talk about the show because I freaking love it. And I thought after watching season 1, season 2, and season 3 that this was going to be the show where, wow, I get to enjoy an extra season or 2 more seasons. And it got cancelled. Recently as well, Issa Rae's show, Rap-ish, got cancelled as well after, I believe, 2 seasons, if I'm not wrong. For viewers who feel like they've invested their time into a writer's story and the amount of hands that go into making the show, when the show gets cancelled for one reason or the other, it does feel like the audience have been kind of bamboozled or fooled or tricked. And no fault to the writers, because I don't think this is ever a decision that they make. Most of the time it comes from networks and, you know, platforms like Netflix, which is very notorious for cancelling shows after 1 or 2 seasons. Another thing is, shows today are much shorter, much more dense, and I think that's mainly due to the fact that networks are trying to take less risks with shows. So what happens is they might get a show and decide, okay, 12 episodes, 6 episodes, 8 episodes, and we're done, with the hope that if it does get a big enough audience, then we'll renew the show, which from a financial standpoint makes absolute sense. But from a creative standpoint, it's like, huh? This is obviously different in the UK than it is in, let's say, America, where they have more writers, therefore more episodes. Whereas, for example, in the UK, there are less writers, so in essence, less episodes. Less writers, less episodes, more writers, more episodes. You get the point. A thing that keeps being brought up when it comes to the conversation about binge culture is attention spans and how audiences have a shorter attention span. I mean, you're probably watching this on some kind of short form platform like TikTok or Instagram or YouTube Shorts, for example. And I guess that for them feels like it furthers the point that people have a short attention span. But I do believe that if someone is interested in something, they will sit and watch. Like, I've seen people sit through movies in cinemas, and obviously that's a separate conversation, but I do believe that if people are interested enough, they will watch regardless of the length, even though we might complain at the end and say, oh, that was long, blah, 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 blah. But if it's necessary information, people will take it in. There is something very sinister about us, the consumers, being able to watch 12 episodes of a show in one go, or 8 episodes of a show in one go. It almost reduces the creator's work to fleeting moments. For someone, a whole afternoon, for someone, a couple of days. Again, I don't know if this is necessarily a negative thing or a positive thing, because this conversation is akin to one that we have in the music industry, where we say someone will spend a year or two having having to go through and fine tune a particular sound, song, a mix, a master, or for a person to sit down for 2-3 minutes and consume the song and be like, yeah, that's it, I'm never going to listen to the song ever again. It's a very complex conversation when it gets to that point, because as an audience, I think sometimes we don't have that much grace for shows. Even me sitting here complaining about a show being cancelled, I don't necessarily understand the, especially from the financial or logistical point of view, the amount of work that has to go into producing a show or a film. As an artist, I can also see from the other point of view, which is that this is someone's escape, or this is someone's kind of like, I don't want to just loosely throw the word therapy around, but it is someone else's therapy where they can sit down and escape from the world. And then for that to be ripped away from someone in the middle, I can't lie, it can cause a bit of anxiety at times, just not having that kind of resolution, or knowing when, or knowing how something wraps up. It is tricky. It creates this kind of weird conundrum where as an audience we're demanding more, but we're not willing to give up more. I think recently James Blake made a tweet talking about obviously the financial state, and how I'll put it up, and how in essence the audience have been tricked into believing this system where music is almost free. Now, think of your favorite TV show that got cancelled, for example. Are you willing to chip in? I believe there's a percentage of the population that are willing to put their own money up front to have a show come back. I'm one of them, I'll be honest. Like, there's a bunch of shows that got cancelled that I would genuinely put some money. If there was a crowd fund or GoFundMe or something, I would put my money just to see that show, see its proper, creative end. But yeah, that's my opinion. I do feel like as humans, we probably do need some kind of break in between this constant intake of information. And I don't know when that's going to happen, or if we as people just have to kind of change our own ways of digesting information, being more considerate, being more intentional about how we consume media in general. It'd be interesting to know what you guys think as well.